Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. I have to say today's pick a card reading is possibly a topic that is the closest I've ever come to exploring with you in a collective reading the core precept of my spiritual practice. I don't talk a lot about my spiritual practice. I was brought up with all kinds of occult and esoteric sort of stuff, and also what I would call a classic quote unquote education. And that probably permeates readings and permeates how I interpret things. But if I was to describe my spiritual practice, it's very, very simple. It's not sort of into particular methodologies. It's not, all it really is, what it comes down to is a kind of daily acting, if I can do it, and this is always my aim, meditation and enactment of two principles together, honor and kindness. And the greatest compliment I can ever be given is that I'm either honourable or kind or both. The greatest compliment I can ever give is that somebody is honourable or kind or both. And I do think there is a balance. They are an interesting balance because honour can sometimes require something that does not feel innately kind. Kindness can sometimes demand something of honour that feels a bit of a compromise. But I think at the end, that balance, for me spiritually, sums it up. And one of the reasons that I feel that, and so this topic about what do you honour and protect, is that I think part of my reincarnation heritage may have been connected to the time of the samurai. I don't know for sure, but I've always felt a very strong connection to that. And for a whole range of reasons, when my family, we used to talk about this sort of thing, that was definitely a culture that was attributed to me or thought to be connected to me. So it wasn't just my own feeling about it. So I have been looking for a long time for what I would call the definitive tarot that shows sort of that time of Japanese culture, Japanese mythology, it's hard to say, and all of that kind of thing. I finally believe I've found it in this beautiful tarot that you see here. It's called, now I may not be pronouncing this right, so if anybody knows the right pronunciation, please put it in the comments. I'm not going to take offense. I'd like to get it right if possible. But using my pronunciation for how it's spelled out, I think it's either the Rate Akina or Right Akina tarot. So it is, as you can see, very sort of Japanese culture, Japanese art, and you'll see with various cards as we go through, the kind of influence of the sort of samurai time and all that kind of thing. So I finally found the deck for me, and so I wanted to honour that with a reading about that for you and seeing what it is that you honour and protect. And ultimately, therefore, what you serve, because at the end of the day, we are all here to serve and to help others and so forth. So that's what we're getting into today. We've got what I asked of Spirit. I shuffled the deck and dealt out till I got the first three major arcana cards as part of the theme of what it is that you honour and protect, what your mission in this world and in this life is about that. I've also underneath there shuffled and intuitively chosen, I don't know what they are yet, a card from the Siren and Goddesses deck and a card from the Gods and Titans deck, because I wanted to have a look at the sort of divine feminine and masculine balance of this energy, because when we are talking about honouring and protecting, we're talking about both those energies in harmony. So that will set the theme for us, and then we'll use the tarot to look more into what you're doing and also what honours and protects you. And then we'll get other advice from Spirit Team and so forth about your particular mission, your quest, your path in that way. So the choice of piles, of course, go to more than one if you feel drawn to more than one. As I say, the main thing maybe to help you navigate to the right pile for you could be, as I say, the Major Arcana card here. So for pile number one, we have the Hanged Man or the Hanged. For pile number two, we have the Moon. And for pile number three, we have the Chariot. As I say, it could be that. There could be other reasons. You might always go to pile two. Whatever works for you. If you want to go to more than one, as I say, that's fine too. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, as always, I've got the description, I've got the timestamps in the description box below. So I'll see you in your reading. Welcome pile one to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Hanged One, the Hanged Man, whatever terminology, it's just called the Hanged in this particular deck. And the divine masculine and feminine principles we've got are Sheila Nagig and Set. So Irish sort of goddess of sort of gateways, portals, birth, all of that kind of thing. Set, the Egyptian god of chaos. So I think it's very interesting that you came to the Hanged One. The way that this is portrayed, we do have a sense here with a squirrel hanging sort of upside down in what looks almost like a cosmic tree, being very industrious. And I think this is part of the energy of these things coming together. I feel like this is saying that you are meant to make sure in some aspect of your life, this could be around family, it could be career, it could be spiritual path, it could be all of them, that something is brought through and born and created in the right time and in the right way with the right circumstances. So why I'm saying that is the Hanged One, amongst other things, is looking at different perspectives, all that sort of thing, but it is also about timing, and it can be about delays. It can be about blocks. So I feel as though it's not that you're here to honour and protect something by blocking it. I think you're here to manage the timing of it. You are like the midwife in a way to something coming into being. Or you could be the actual creator. You could be both creator and midwife. It's not that you have to just be serving a function of doing it for someone else. But some of you might be doing that. That might be your role in some way. But there's something deeply creative in this. Now, as I say, it doesn't have to be like an artwork, though it could be. It doesn't have to be creative in the classic sense. But as I say, Sheila Nagig is a very feminine goddess. I mean, all of the cards in this deck are feminine, but she is literally about sort of birthing the female principle, coming through portals, coming through. So for some of you, this could be very much about the right timing for messages from the liminal space, when things are meant to happen, when things are meant to come into being. Some of you may be extremely psychic in relation to that sort of thing, and you may have a sense of this is the right time for this message, this is the right time for this spiritual practice, whatever it might be. But it also may be birthing something literally. This is the right time for a child to be born. This is the right time. I'm getting some of you could be astrologers, actually. It's interesting, or could have a calling to astrology, because the birth chart, in essence, is saying the exact right timing for that soul to come in, so that all the celestial energetic principles align for their personality and their potential. So there could be that. And I feel if you are an astrologer, or if you decide to do that, that you'll be extremely good at being able to tell people the timing for when to do things in their lives, when their energy is operating well for them, and when they should hold back, when delays are working for them rather than not, because you have this knowledge that delays are not always a problem. They're actually sometimes exactly what's necessary. So a real kind of connection to divine timing. But as I say, you could be helping people create something, or you could be serving your own creation by understanding the importance of the right timing and like being able to delay it, having the discipline. Like, you're actually extremely good at delayed gratification. And that's a really powerful thing to have, because if you want to produce something, and we'll get to chaos in a minute, this is why it's so profound actually, because of Set as well, but I'll get to that in a minute. But just on the delayed gratification energy that you have here, if you want to produce something, having that kind of discipline that says, I know what my task is, I know what I need to do, I know what my boundaries are, and I am going to do that first, then I will enjoy myself. I'm going to put the work in, and then I will have the rewards. It not only makes you more likely to be productive and get the rewards, it also makes you more zen about the time that it takes to get to it. Because I think one of the things we have to deal with in our fast information culture at the moment, and even to some degree some of the things that certain manifestation philosophies say, is almost like kind of just think about it and be high vibrational, it's just going to happen. There's almost a sense of everything, we can get everything instantly. If we want an answer, we can get it instantly by Googling. Or, we may not get the accurate answer, but we can get an answer. So I feel like one of the things that is really part of your soul and part of your mission here, and why you are the right person for this, is that you're able to do that. You're able to say, it's not going to necessarily happen instantly, and this is important enough to give it the time to grow, to prepare, to be protected, to be in the right circumstances. You would be such an amazing teacher, coach, mentor, spirit guide, like all sorts of things. Or I say astrologer, like I think you'd be an extraordinary astrologer if you aren't already. So there's something about that. You really do understand timing and where delays are actually going to work, and where they help protect something. And you're honouring the original purpose. Because we're set here with chaos. What I think this is talking about, I don't think it's talking about set as in, great warlord or whatever, though you would be fierce to protect this if you had to, like really fierce if you had to. But I think it's much more saying that out of chaos, out of the void, out of the abyss, whatever terminology you want to use, that is where all the potential is. That is where true creativity comes. And I think this is the other thing about it. As I say, whether it's classic creativity or something else, you have a really deep sense of kind of spiritual, creative, intellectual, philosophical, scientific, whatever it is, evolution. You have a sense of what's coming that is really important and that hasn't been yet. So I think that all of you who have come to this, if you feel that you resonate to this, there may be one major thing, or there may be a number of things, or it may be that you're helping other people do it, but this is an evolutionary and to some degree revolutionary energy, but it's about things that are precious and new and haven't been seen. Makes a lot of sense to me that people like you exist at the moment. We are in a time of transition, I think, and there's a lot of risk of that going too fast or like that delayed gratification versus instant gratification. We have a real risk with a social system that seems to be all about instant gratification, of not actually putting the firm foundations in for what could be sustainable over time. And this is happening in so many levels. You're here for that. That's what there's something, as I say, you'll know it's one thing. It could be a family. It could be something like that. Or it could be, your own creations, or it could be helping others do that. But that's you. You're here to make sure that things are, as I say, the midwife to change, the midwife to new ideas, new approaches, new spiritual approaches, whatever it might be. So it's very, very profound. So let's see a little bit more detail with the tarot. So we're going to ask, what do you most honour? Then we're going to ask, what do you most protect? And it might be the same thing, but it might be different aspects. The aspects about what you honour and then the aspects about what you need to protect. We're also going to ask what honours or protects you as you go through this. So firstly, let's get to the honour bit. What are you honouring by this sense of perfect timing and this patience, like you're patient? I love the energy because I have a lot of trouble with patience. So I really admire people who can be patient. So this patience is part of your honouring of this. So what are you most honouring? The Lovers reversed. The Knight of Cups reversed. The Five of Cups reversed. It's a very internal thing. The Three of Swords. Okay, there's a lot about emotion and so forth here. And the Queen of Swords. All right. This, what you're honouring plays out a lot with other people. I'm saying that because we've got the Lovers, you've got a Major Arcana card and two court cards, and that always tells me that there's a balance where other people are very important. Makes sense. I think for most of you, it will be that you're helping others. You're kind of, as I say, being more the midwife, but that's an amazing thing to do. The coach, the mentor. But, it's not always going to be the case. Sometimes it's going to be your own thing as well. There is something here. It feels very personal. I feel like if it's creative, it's very personal. So, if it was writing a song, it would have a very personal, romantic, emotional sort of energy to it. And the timing has got to be right for it to hit the charts or whatever. So there's something very personal about it. There's something about relieving pain and having a detached, part of the way that you honour and what you're honouring is a kind of capacity to go through. It's like the birth pains of something. Like, this is really interesting because I think that you can say some of the big changes that happen in society and philosophy and all that kind of thing could be analogous to birth pains. And once it starts, you can't stop it. You're like, once giving birth is happening, you can't stop it. So you know how to kind of hold it to the right time, then to take it through its pain, and this philosophic thing about this too shall pass, that we will get through this. There is something greater that we are pursuing with this, and you have a really strong intellectual understanding. Your mind is very, very strong. This has a very kind of Saturnian feeling to it because of the sort of capacity to deal with time. And I think there's a kind of almost a Saturnian feeling sometimes with the Queen of Swords. So I think that what you're honouring is something that brings in new emotional energy after pain. And so literally it could be, as I say, analogous to the birth process for some sort of creative thing or some sort of societal thing. But there is definitely that. You understand, you have a very good, and I'm getting that because you have an understanding of the pain involved, you will hold this off until it's the right time, because number one, that will probably lessen the pain, but number two, it makes the pain worthwhile. So you have a really good sense of that. But it definitely has to do with something around emotion, love, connection, relationships, because we have the Lovers reversed, we have the Knight of Cups reversed, and then we have the Five of Cups reversed. This is either saying that something happened to you in terms of a love relationship probably that didn't work out, that made you understand this, that brought it to the surface. So because these are all reversed, there is maybe a sense that there is an internal part of you that became able to do this because you came through pain, came through a disappointment. So you've learnt yourself. And this doesn't have to be necessarily a love relationship. It could be a creative project. So it could be that what's happened here is that you had something very precious, something that you really loved, someone that you really loved, whatever it is, and the timing wasn't right. So you learnt how important the timing is. And now you sense and know, either for yourself that a new love is going to come through, or a new project is going to come through, or you're helping others because you've experienced it and you have a high degree of empathy. You do not want to have other people go through the pain you went through. And some may think you're a bit cold or a bit detached. They may think you're a bit blunt sometimes, but it's interesting because it's a highly protective energy and we're looking at what you honor. So I think you honor the core emotional thing that people, the core creative thing that you're supporting. And you honor it so much that you are prepared to have the lesser pain for the greater outcome. And the lesser pain may be the timing and so forth. And it's coming out of chaos. This is something big. So and I think you've experienced it yourself in some way. So you're honoring discipline, mental discipline, like very, very clear mental discipline. And where necessary, the suppression of some of the sort of, impetus towards just romantic and emotional sort of movement until the timing is right, because you understand you're a bit like a doctor as well, who's telling people that, it's going to take 6 months for something to heal and this is the way to do it, and don't rush it. Like there's that kind of energy as well too. So you're honoring something by a precision in timing, a precision in intellect, and a suppression where it's necessary of your own empathy. And I think your empathy is strong, but your overall empathy is what's driving this. This is why it's honor. Like you have honor here. How I said in the introduction that for me the balance of honor and kindness is the main thing. This is a very good example of this, because it's like in doing this, you sometimes have to be cruel to be kind. It's that sort of sense of like, this is not going to give the instant gratification. This is not going to give necessarily the soothing words when somebody wants it. This is actually going to be helping them avoid pain. So you're honoring the birth process of whatever this is. Very, very profound. So let's have a look at what you protect as a result of that. The Five of Wands reversed. The Seven of Swords, I think. I need to double check that actually. I'm just going to pause because it's sometimes a little bit hard to tell, a bit like the Marseille Tarot, whether or not it's swords or wands. Yes, it's swords. I thought it was. The Devil reversed. Wow. Connecting to Set. That's interesting. The Page of Pentacles. And the Two of Cups. So you see, in the end, you are protecting the heart. It's this whole thing. I think you come across as being a little bit sort of detached, but you're ultimately protecting the heart, and you're protecting the precious thing, the material thing, the outcome of this, a child, a project, a creative energy, a new business, whatever, a new social system, whatever it is. You are protecting the heart. So how you do your honor, and this is particularly falling with where it is in the kind of mental approach that you use and the way you articulate it, is ultimately to protect that. What you understand and why you protect it that way is that there needs to be a liberation from excessive emotion where things actually bind people to things. So, for instance, you could be extremely good at being some sort of therapist who is helping people break away from addictions and sort of like the wrong kind of connections and so forth. Certainly also, because we did have Set here, you're protecting the purity of this because it is coming out of chaos. So you're protecting the purity so it can grow into what it's really at its best could be, as opposed to getting caught and trapped in some of the more chaotic energy. That's what you're protecting. You're doing it very cleverly again with the Seven of Swords, and you're protecting against anything that could be false around this, including with the Knight of Cups reversed there, any kind of false emotion that's associated with it. And then when we have the Five of Wands, you're also protecting against any unnecessary battles. So all of what you're doing is to make sure the smoothest passage for this. But as I say, I feel like you may be seen as a little bit severe or a little bit, I'm going to say conservative. I don't mean it politically. You could be conservative politically. I don't get into those sort of things one way or the other. But you're conservative about the timing and the energy. But it's all to protect the thing that was of the heart and to not let what is not really of the heart somehow come into it. And it's almost like make sure the purity is kept. It's really, really interesting. It's a really lovely energy, actually. But as I say, it could be misinterpreted sometimes. So then let's just get 4 cards for what honours or protects you as you are doing this, because it's very important what you're doing. We have the 8 of Wands reversed, the Hermit reversed, the Page of Wands, the Tower. Wow. Chaos. You could be a high magician as well, actually. I don't know, it's possible. You could have actually crossed the abyss. That's possible with this sort of thing because there is a protection. Interestingly enough, there is the protection of major change and of the timing being right, because the Tower is about that. The Tower, things fall when they have to fall. And so there's a protection here that clears the way for you for this new thing to come in. And I think you're protected in that. So say this was like at a very macro level and it was about some sort of social system that you're trying to bring in. You're protected by the fact that you are looking after the precious new energy while the old energy is falling. And you're protected by a lot of kind of creative input to you. You can see from the destruction of the old what the new can have. You are the sort of person in the middle of a crisis who would be very able to navigate that extremely well. You're protected in a way by the practical things in the world. You're very psychic, I think. There's a very strong psychic sort of energy here, as I say. I think some of you, major astrologers, major high magic, any of those sort of things. And if you feel a calling to any of those, you're definitely the right sort of person for it. But there's something with the Hermit reverse. You're kind of protected by science or logic in some way. It's not just the spiritual. And you're protected by those sort of energies, almost like scientific energies that slow the pace of something. So it's sort of like the natural world is connecting to your almost supernatural understanding. And that works in harmony while the major change occurs and while the new thing comes in. Very interesting people. I think you're here for some pretty significant things. So let's get some advice. I want to get a kind of a triptych of advice for you. I want to get advice from your own higher self. Or firstly, actually, from the celestial realms with the White Light Oracle, then your higher self, and then from your ancestors. Just one card from each, just to sort of give some guidance, both internally and externally, on how you honour and protect this new thing you're bringing in, or you're shepherding in, or you're being the midwife to. So firstly, the energy from the celestial realms for you. Alpha of Alcyon. So that's interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Alpha is, of course, the Alpha and the Omega. This is something that beginning, that instantly jumped out at me the minute I saw Alpha there. Alcyon is actually a story of a goddess who has extraordinary compassion and mercy. So you really do. But it comes after going through great heartbreak and loss. So I do feel that for many of you, you have suffered the wrong timing or something wrong that happened to you, something unjust, that's actually made you understand, and you've got a kind of determined way to honour other people and make sure they don't go through it. So this energy is there, and so there is an enormous loving compassion underneath for everything for you. But it's like you honour that this does not happen again. You honour that people are protected. You honour that the heart is protected from anything false or unjust. That's the energy. And the alpha waves are calming. So I think that you can calm. You can stand in the middle of the storm. You're very okay in that. And you have this clarity, and people will come to you, even though they may feel sometimes like, I'd rather have a warm hug than a strategy. At the end of the day, it's all coming from your heart, and it's coming from a very clear understanding. So that's really beautiful, and I think it really fits with the sense of bringing in something new. So let's see what your own higher self says about it. Creative engineer. You have a creative intelligence capable of multiple solutions. Yeah, there's something, science, technology, creativity that has a kind of technique, has an intelligence behind it. Your own higher self is saying, yes, you are very well suited to doing this because you are a problem solver. You are a creative person and a creative engineer. An engineer knows how things work. An engineer knows the right timing. So there's very much a sense that your higher self says you had to go through what you went through to understand your own intelligence and to kind of click into the engineer within you, the one that can make things work. Okay, and then let's also get some support or some understanding from your ancestors. Compass. Okay, yeah, direction. So your ancestors are guiding you with direction, your own inner compass, and they are also providing a compass for you. So the engineer needs to know how things work. The ancestors are making sure you're heading in the right direction. Alcyon is protecting the heart. So you are the navigator through all this. You are the navigator through chaos. You are the navigator into the new. You know the timing. When you're looking at a compass, you're looking not only at direction, but also like how is that being shown by, the position of the stars, the time, is it night, is it day, all of those sort of things. So you have this real, as I say, it's like you give birth to something, you help the birth of something, you navigate something through stormy waters to come to the shore and be able to be what it is. There's actually a ancient song which is called Speed Bonnie Boat, I think it's called, or something like that. But it's about when a particular king, a baby king, was being protected in the middle of a lot of sort of wars and so forth. And it's about taking them across the sea to make sure that they go to a place called Skye, and it's to protect the king for later times. So there's a sense like that of it. I'm actually getting tears in my eyes just even thinking about it. So I'm not sure what it's actually called, but if you Googled in Speed Bonnie Boat, you'll probably find it. So it's quite an ancient sort of song, but it's got that kind of energy to it. Okay, so, and I think that's maybe the best analogy of this, because that kind of brought tears to my eyes. And one of the reasons I want to do stuff about honour is that honour brings tears to my eyes. So that tells me that's the core of this. So what I also wanted to do was see some fortune energy, because when you're looking at what you're honouring and protecting, fortune is important to understand what's going on with that. So we're just going to use a couple of decks, Madame and Dora's and then the Shadow of the Middle Ages, to look at fortune energy around this for you. And this is more right at the moment, because it's up to it here. It's kind of a bit about who you really are and for your life, around what you honour and protect, but this is kind of what's going on right now. So firstly, the shield. You are safe from harm. So yeah, you have strong energies around you, and you are able to deal with this. You are able to deal with it more than most, and it is partly because you suffered on some level. If it's not in this life, it's in another, but I think for most of you it's probably in this life. So you are your own shield, but you have a shield, and the honour of what you're doing provides a shield. And we have the Raven. Darkness looms on the horizon. So you're about to go into the chaos energy, I think. It's saying that this is imminent. Like I literally get like the sense of like when, and we're about to use the Shadow of the Middle Ages deck, but like the concept they used to talk about in the Middle Ages or whatever, when a woman was about to give birth, she went into confinement. She went into the bedroom, into the sort of darkened bedroom, and there the creation occurred. So There's something like that. So it's pretty imminent, I would say. So let's just get you a couple of cards from the Shadow of the Middle Ages deck, which is a kind of a very largely expanded Lenormand. So Ostara, the spring equinox. So this could be timing it to that spring could be very important wherever that is in your life, but it's also the birth of the new. So it's just really underlining that for you, and that kind of innocence. There's a real protection. You're protecting people. And wow, the Trojan horse. Okay, so there is something. This is why there was the kind of energy, the devil reverse, and also dealing with chaos. Part of the reason that you're going to be able to navigate this is you can understand when something is false. There was an energy there where there could be false information, false emotion. Like if this was around something political, just as an example, you have a clarity and an honor and the truth on your side. You have a very good understanding of when something is being dressed up as wonderful and warm and caring when it's anything but. So there's something like that. You're protecting something and nothing's going to get past you. You're too clever. So that's good. Whatever you're looking after, it's precious. So it's wonderful that that's the case. Okay, let's just get you some stars to guide you as well. The new moon, what a surprise. The seeding, plant what you desire, limitless possibilities. Yeah, it's all fairly close, I think, whatever this is. The fourth house, so the moon, again, moon cycles are very important to you, and you know about timing, so the moon is very important. But this is something very close to home. This is like, it's something that really matters to you, something really core to you. If it's not sort of something associated with family and all of that kind of thing, security on that level, if it's not very personal on that level, it's personal to you as this is part of who you are at your core. And Neptune, the Hanged Man. Oh, wow. Very psychic connection. Part of the reason that you can move through the different spaces and be, as I say, in the abyss or whatever. Could be that the time of Pisces is important to this as well. The phrase, I dream, pay attention to your dreams. There's a lot of, and it's fallen near the raven, so you may find information, like kind of spiritual information is coming to you through your dreams. Okay, so lastly, we're just going to get you a blessing for your honor and protection, and also for how you honor others. So it's for you and yours. So we're asking Spirit now for a blessing over you and yours, those who are closest, those you're protecting and caring about, as a result of understanding this part of your journey. A blessing on your love. And remember, a lot of it was around love. I think this is you will, all that you love, the people that you love, the people that you protect, there is a blessing on that. You are a blessing on that. And if for you, to some degree, this is like protecting the new and great love that's coming, then you will be able to do it. Because you've learnt before and you know the right sort of timing and you know how to deal with timing. But beyond that, I think that there is a great deal of love in what you do, even though maybe it's not always seen. And this is a blessing to show in the end for you and yours. It will be very clear. And look at how the moon, we've got the kind of particular crescent moon there. So there could be something about timing there for you as well. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. I really enjoyed your energy. I think it's a really necessary energy in the world at the moment. So I hope that this was helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the moon. And what a beautiful moon card this is. There's a sort of sense of like quiet watchfulness here and like, I think, anticipation. And it interests me that there's almost a double moon in this card. So there's almost like there's the visible moon and then there's the greater moon watching it. And that makes sense with this and the overall energy that I feel about this for you. Because you've got Vesta home. So Vesta was the kind of the goddess that looked after the hearth and home. And home could be literally, it could be saying that you protect and honour that which is in your home, in your family and the people closest to you. But it could be broader than that. It could be community. It could be country. It could be even, being very clear about protecting the earth, like so your home as the earth. So home is a very broad concept, but there's something that's very personal to you and it's about the protection of the home and the honouring the home. And with Thor, with action, it's taking action, it's power. It's a little bit of really almost unfettered power when you access it. But I think part of the thing around honouring and protecting is that you, part of your honour and part of your protection is to only unleash that when you need to. And I think you do it in a very subtle way. Like what I thought when I looked at this, I thought if you were a samurai, you'd be a ninja. You're like, this is a very subtle energy. Like I feel like you are the sort of protector who honours and protects what is important to your home, to your people, whatever it may be. But it's almost as though people wouldn't even know you were doing it. You're very skilled. You have this kind of like kind of stewardship watching it, but it's like it's not showy because the moon is subtle. The moon works at night. The moon works through dreams. For some of you, you're going to very much be getting, a lot of like psychic downloads through dreams that helps you know when to take action, to protect your home. Like you could have a bit of the prophet about you. The moon is Archangel Gabriel rules over the moon, and that's the archangel of prophecy, for instance. So there could be that. There could be a prophetic sense of knowing when to act to protect what is home. That's definitely there. But I just feel like it's subtle. And I feel like there's the visible you that may tilt more to this. I think it'll be interesting when we see what you honour and what you protect. I suspect that when we're looking at that, there's going to be a bit of people see the person who cares about their environment, their people, but don't necessarily understand the action you take, because I feel like you're kind of watching over it and you do stuff and you're not looking for congratulations, you're not looking for applause. In fact, you know that it's better for people even not to know. Like you kind of know that you actually tactically make yourself be a little bit underestimated. Like the whole of you is this size is what you're sort of saying, but in fact only part of you is that size. So there's something like that going on. The other thing that it makes me think of, is the Scarlet Pimpernel, the story of the aristocrat who pretended just to be this foppish aristocrat, but was actually helping people around the French Revolution escape tyranny or escape being potentially killed for being on the side that was not winning at the time in France. So there's that kind of energy about you, and in whatever way that this happens, which makes it really fascinating. I think you'd be very honourable and very protective, but it's like it's the thing that matters to you is the people, the place. You're not after fanfare. In fact, you're likely to let other people get the credit, to be frank, because the other thing about the moon is it takes a reflected light from the sun. It's like you are protecting those you care about and so forth, and if others get the credit for what you do, that's fine by you because you know what your bigger kind of mission is. So it's a very interesting, subtle energy here, though extremely active, extremely powerful, but kind of cloaked in a way. Kind of like it. It's a really interesting energy. So we're going to look with tarot firstly about what do you most honour, and then we're going to look at what do you most protect, and then we're going to look at what honours or protects you as you're doing it. So this may give us a little bit more idea about how your subtle energy operates. So firstly, around honour, let's find out a bit more about what you honour. Oops. Just got to pause because I just dropped a whole bunch of cards. Okay, go back to shuffling. So what do you most honour? I think that in itself is funny. Like I suddenly had to stop. It's almost like there's something in your energy. It's like, oh, don't tell too much. Don't give away all my secrets. But remember, this is just for you. You don't have to tell other people that you chose pile 2. That's completely up to you. So let's see what we get about honouring. So we have Temperance reversed. We have the 6 of Wands. Yeah, see, you're very well aware of like who gets the glory and how that can bring an imbalance. The Emperor reversed. Death reversed. This is powerful. And the 3 of Swords. Okay. So, overall, you are looking to win the war, not every battle. You are looking for what is the outcome that you want, what is victory, but you don't have to be seen. In fact, you are working and operating in an environment where that's the problem to some degree. It looks to me like there is a lot about power and who has power and who gets to decide, and it's really imbalanced. So your victory is against something like that. Now, it could be on any level. This could be, within an extended family, and there's someone in the family who's a bit dictatorial, and you are actually able to kind of behind the scenes work on helping those and who are kind of under the thumb or whatever. But it could be in a workplace, it could be politically, it could be anything. But it's like you can see it's sort of like this is a dual set of messages here. It's partly saying you will have victory. That's the point. The way you honor things brings victory, but it's like you hide it because victory itself, if it's too visible, becomes its own problem. And part of what you're doing to honor this is to make sure that new decisions and so forth aren't made until the pain has been dealt with. So, what it really does, it's funny that I was thinking about the Scarlet Pimpernel because it does have a kind of revolutionary energy to it. They say generally in history that what happens, and this is kind of why we just get another version of the same old thing, is that there's the fire towards what is better, but then what happens is the next people that come in become the same thing. They become the thing they despise. You're very aware of this. You don't want to become the thing that you despise, and you don't want to replicate whatever this is just with the same energy. Victory is not about, I'm now top dog here. Victory is about dealing with the issue where someone wants to be top dog, when in fact something should be more community, collaborative, that kind of energy. There's a real spiritual warrior energy about you, actually. But there's also an incredible strategist, like a very, Sun Tzu type of like strategy and understanding all that kind of thing. And you know, in whatever this is, that the period you have to be really honourable and let go through in its timing is a period when people are mourning whatever has occurred. Because that's the point at which it would be very easy to decide to try and embed what you do by becoming the thing you despise. So you're not going to do that. Very honourable about that. Very aware that it could happen to you as much as anybody else. And this is why you keep yourself small so that you don't become that thing. But you're really so much larger than the situation, and that's why you can do it. Okay, so let's see what you protect as a result. Seven of Swords, Knight of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, okay, the Three of Cups, and the Six of Cups reversed. Okay. Yeah, you're going for a change from something that was about power to the heart, to the home, to the caring, to the collaboration. This is what you're protecting. You honour a sense that I will not become what I despise. I know how to win this without needing then all the glittering prizes that could tempt me into becoming the thing that I despise. What you're protecting is the true emotional heart collaboration, connection and celebration. You want to win without being seen to win because you know then it can sustain. And you're protecting that against the fall back with the Six of Cups reversed into old patterns. So you're stopping a replication operating in some way. You're also wanting to protect generosity. That, I feel like that you're in situations where you do this, where this side of you comes out, where you want to shift from the kind of the despot to the more generous person. You recognize that for some reason there is an inequality that's always going to be there to some degree. So this feels like it primarily plays out in a workplace or socially or something like that. But it could be within an extended family or something, or it could be, it's like shifting parental energies to make it more generous and less disciplinary or something. But I think generally speaking, you are protecting a generous energy rather than a despotic energy. And you're protecting the strategy and the speed of the strategy and how it's like so ninja-esque. It's like you come in, you do it fast. Nobody even knows. You've known exactly before you went in that you were going to win. You absolutely know. It's very Sun Tzu. But it's like nobody even knows you did it. Like something shifts. Something shifts and you're protecting that. That's all you care about. You care about the end goal, not about you. And this is why, as I say, people don't see it, but you know that if they saw it, you couldn't do it again after that. So it's like it's very strategic. Okay, so given that you're not necessarily going to be that visible with what you do, what honours or protects you? Two of Wands reversed. The Hermit reversed. That's interesting. That came up in another reading. The Knight of Cups reversed. And the Chariot. Okay, firstly, destiny protects you. This is something you're destined to do. So even if there's not necessarily a lot of people around who even realize you're doing it, this is something you've brought in with your soul. So destiny is saying you will succeed. So you know that you can be confident. There's something very strategic about you, actually. It comes from an emotional place. It comes from a caring. You come from caring, and that you will protect that, and you will protect the emotional integrity of this all the way through. Even, as I say, even if it means you never get the recognition that you deserve. And so what protects you is this almost like scientific, strategic, intellectual energy. You are protected from emotional energy that could destabilize it. And you are protected by the fact that your pathway is not a pathway that most could even recognize. So there's a kind of a pragmatism that protects you. In the environment that you're in, like you can actually navigate that well because you can understand it. There's sort of rules almost, and you can see what the rules are. That you have destiny, but it's also your pathway is very unusual. Most people wouldn't understand it. So you're protected from being seen. As I say, you can be this very big moon. People are seeing only this. Even though they think they're seeing the whole of the moon there, the reality is you're so much more than that. So much more than that. So interesting. Let's get you some other guidance. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to get a kind of triptych of guidance for you. One card from the sort of celestial realms, one card from your own higher self, and one card from your ancestors. So firstly, from the celestial sort of realms, the guidance and support for what you honour and protect. Yeshi I don't even know how to pronounce that. Sogyal 333. So this tiger, white tiger, whose name I cannot pronounce, is connected to white Tara, so a goddess of compassion, love and mercy. So as I say, there's great compassion, great caring here, but it is a sign of success. So this is saying it over and over, you're going to succeed, but it's a spiritual success. So I'm saying it doesn't necessarily have to be showy. And it even comes in the form, and it actually tells the story of the tiger carrying somebody to exorcise demons in a community. So there's a kind of a sense of you are meant to kind of have a breakthrough against something that is darker, an energy that is darker. But it does come from the heart, and you are going to be successful. I think that's the main thing that the heavens want to say to you, you are going to be successful. You have the will, you have the capacity, you have the spiritual connections, all of that kind of thing. So, and it's interesting with 333 to me, it kind of like, it feels very much like you're protecting the Three of Cups, you're protecting the community connection, the home that is pure. And like potentially all the sort of trinities and so forth that we see in various spiritual traditions. Let's see what we get, what your higher self wants to say about it. Shine. Allow nothing to dim the light within you. Allow yourself to shine. Now, it's interesting because so I think your higher self is saying here, you don't necessarily have to get the glittering prizes, but you still shine. The moon still shines. And I think it's also, your higher self is also saying, even if it isn't seen in the immediate, because you've actually, part of your honor and your protection is to sacrifice the glittering prizes for the outcome, you shine in the heavens. Like people see this. Oh God, I'm getting emotional. This always happens to me when I get to honor. And so when I get the tears, I think this is going to be telling me in these readings, that's the very key message. You shine in the heavens, okay? It doesn't really matter what happens here in the sense of like recognition, because it's being seen. It's being seen. Okay, let's see what your ancestors have to say. Driver, okay, yeah, you're driving things through. You're moving things through. Do you know what I also think too, as they're saying here, there's sort of sense that you are a driving force, you are a force towards change. This is the Thor energy as well too. You can see things through. But it's sort of also, it's something unusual, because here we've got what looks like an angel on a bicycle. Like, that's pretty unusual. Most people don't even see you coming because they don't understand even what you're doing. but you're driving change, you're driving things towards a better outcome. That's what you're here to do, and it's you're on the goal. See how the person's like very focused on the goal. Very unusual energy. Okay, so when you're dealing with that, you deal with fortune. So when you have a kind of a thing to honor and protect. So this, I'm going to get a couple of cards from a couple of decks that are kind of more fortune energy, and this is more immediate, what's happening right now in what could be potentially a lifelong journey of honoring and protecting. So we firstly get the oracle, seek wisdom and guidance from elders. So, okay, your ancestors, definitely. I'm going to put that over there. They'll help you with direction. They'll help you with focus. They may even help you with where are the key points in the strategy. So commune in with that. And for some of you, this might be showing something very deeply grounded in the community with Vesta, and then that with the elders. And the black cat, your luck will soon change. So if things are difficult at the moment, it's going to get better. If things are great at the moment, you're about to hit a challenge. But either way, remember you're going to win. This is all just a process. Maybe watch out for black cats as a kind of a symbol or a synchronicity to tell you that as well. And then we're also going to get a couple of cards from the Shadow of Middle Ages deck, which is a sort of an expanded Lenormand type of fortune energy. So firstly, wow, tornado, yeah. Thor. Remember, Thor is good in extreme weather events. So I think this is the power. The power's about to come out. Some big change is happening. So, and it may be saying you're about to hit a bit of a rocky patch, but remember you're going to win. And letter, you're going to hear something. Some information is coming to you. So you'll know. And maybe it's even from elders in your community and your family. Could be information coming through psychically. If you have a mediumship ability, which you may well have, if it's saying to connect to the elders and the ancestors. But some information is coming. Things are about to kind of hit a bit of a point that's important. But remember, you are going to succeed. You are. So it's just a matter of like using the strategy because you're so strategic. You'll get to the eye of the tornado, do you know what I mean? You'll know the way. You'll have the information and the guidance that you need. Okay, so to also give you a bit of guidance, let's just see what the stars have to say. Fourth house, that's interesting. That came up for one of the others. There's a few here that have come up from another. Some of you might have gone to two. Very interesting, actually, if it's combined energy of the two, given what came up in the other one. But yeah, this is very close to home. This is very much about what you would see as your home, your community, and who you are at your core. Plus, I think the fact that it naturally fell with shine, I think maybe those closest to you might know what you've done, but most other people are not going to know that it was you. Libra, yeah, it's about bringing fairness, balance, strategy, social outcomes. A lot of you, this is about social issues on one level or another. And justice, about, having something just. Bringing in a more just regime, for instance. And Aries, you are the initiator, you are the driver. You're the one with the energy. You have to be involved. You're crucial to this. Okay, so just to finish off, because, when you're talking about honouring and protecting, this is really probably the thing that we have to do, that even if we have to sacrifice for it sometimes. I want to ask for a blessing for you and yours that comes from your honouring and protecting in this way. A blessing of the earth. So he said right at the beginning that for some of you, this may be about the earth. This might be about Gaia. This might be about that. But there's a very material blessing here. And there's a sort of a sense of a blessing for family, for lineages, for legacy. When you're looking at the tree of life here, I feel like behind the woman. So there's a very material outcome here. And I think it's sustainable. I think that's the other thing. Because you are honourable and clever enough to know that it will sustain better if it's not about ego and the glittering prizes. It's about the end, what you're going to get out, what's the object of what you're doing. You can really bring in something that's sustained. So lovely energy. I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Chariot. This is a very interesting Chariot card. I mean, I think that one of the main things that I normally see in a Chariot card is two horses or two animals or mythical creatures or whatever, like leading the chariot. That's the normal depiction. But in this, we have one. And so I feel as though there's something about integration. What you're honoring and protecting is an integration of something. And I feel like it's an integration to go on a journey to discover and to find your destiny, because I always think of destiny associated with the chariot card, but also maybe other people's destinies in some way. Because I feel like here, this looks to me like somewhere in that carriage, you can just vaguely see, I'm not sure whether it might just be more of the sort of like flowers, or whether it's vaguely a head in there, like somebody that they're carrying, but it feels like the interesting thing actually is I feel like there's a person in there and then there's the driver. So the two are the drivers here as opposed to the horses. So I feel like there's an integration of two elements. And that shows a lot here. So I feel like what we're looking at is you honor and protect things by integrating the depth of something and the transformation and the change and the evolution of something with Hades, with death. So you can go into the underworld, you're able to deal with that sort of energy very, very well. But you also have Bast, which is play, which is fun. There is a protective energy that Bast brings, but there's also a sense of fun. So it's sort of like you could walk into hell and have a party kind of thing, if you know what I mean. There's that sort of energy of like what is very serious, what is very evolutionary, revolutionary, transformative. But there's also how do you do that in a way that has lightness and joy and kind of cleverness, because Bast is connected with cats and cats are very clever. And the other thing that's interesting too is that cats are very, very independent. And so again, this sort of feeling that like the two integrate to one. I think for this, in what you honor and what you protect, it's like you integrate within yourself your sense of humor. Like actually, you'd be an amazing comic or satirist. There's something like that there. There's sort of like, or you could take really big themes and make an amazing movie, for instance, something fun that actually gets a message across. There's something like that. Or you're someone who works in politics, but you understand the importance of culture as a way of helping the change happen and in a way that's positive. There's an integration. For you, there's an integration of two almost what appear to be opposites. That's how you honor and protect things. You see the similarity. Actually, you see the similarity because you understand within yourself that you have both those elements. So in a political context, for instance, you're not going to be someone who's really rabidly partisan on one side or the other. You're going to see where the points of similarity are, where the points of integration are. And you just have this lightness of touch, but this gravitas. Also a kind of combination of charisma and gravitas, actually. So I think you're all about integration. And how you honor and protect that which is important. It is integrating the elements of almost the two extremes on a continuum so that you get the benefit of both. Very, very interesting. And you're destined to do this with the chariot. There's a destiny associated with it. So what we're going to do with tarot is we're going to drill into it a bit more. We're going to ask firstly a bit more about what you honor, then a bit more about what you protect, because there could be subtle differences or different ways that you do the two aspects of this. Then we're going to ask what honors and protects you while you're doing this. So firstly, a little bit more about what you honor, because I'm seeing there more the methodology of what you honor than what you honor. So let's see if we can get a little bit more of how you use this methodology. We have the Six of Cups reversed, the Queen of Swords reversed, the Six of Wands, the Knight of Swords, the Fool. Okay, so you are Hades with the underworld is telling us a bit more about what you're honouring actually and what you're seeking to protect. It is something, it's a transmission, it's a change. It's actually been quite true of all of these readings. For all of you, there's a change agent energy in one form or another. So you're protecting a new pathway. You're protecting, so this could be a new job, a new creative project, a new political, social regime, whatever it might be. You're protecting something new. And at this point, you're right at that beginning. And it may, in fact, be you protect all things that are new by, instead of letting them in this increasingly divided world where people are almost demanded to take sides instantly on something. I think part of what you do to honour and protect something when it is new is putting it or helping it be in a space or a way that it's presented that you don't have to take sides. This is why I feel there's a very creative energy here. I feel like a film, a comedy show, a musical, like doesn't have to be that, but there's something about enjoyment that is put into the change that stops people from being divided. Because I think a lot of what you honour and protect is to stop division when it's illegitimate. It's more about synthesis. It's more about collaboration. It's more about finding what is common, and it's so that you're protecting something new, so it has a chance to become what it truly is before one side demonizes it or whatever. Like I really like your energy, because the one thing that drives me incredibly insane in the political realms that we're in now is how divided it is. I think we have more in common than we have different, but it's like the whole way that the media is set up. So people who are in culture, and the media to some extent, but people who are in culture who are about synthesis, this is kind of like who you are, whether you're doing it literally through media and art or whether you're doing it in some other way. So necessary, so necessary. If we're going to get something healthy moving forward, as opposed to just falling into some sort of new dark ages where we're battling with people that actually should be our comrades. It's very disturbing. Sorry, that's just me ranting a bit, but this energy really kind of brings that up in me, because I think this is really, really essential to be able to do this. And you have a strategy. You have a strategy for this. Like, I feel like this is you being very firm and very strategic and quick thinking, like very quick thinking. Queen of Swords reverse, Knight of Swords. You definitely could use humour, and it could be satire. I think if you use humour, it's satire. And satire is incredibly powerful when dealing with illegitimate sort of propaganda and so forth. Like, you see right through it, and like you do it, you kind of cut through it with a really very fierce and quick determination. Like, I wouldn't want to debate with you. You would be like that, You actually make me think. I've been watching every once in a while a comic, Konstantin Kizin, who does trigonometry. It's like kind of a bit like that. I've seen a couple of his speeches. He's so quick. And again, I'm not getting into like the politics of sides or whatever. I'm just talking about the method of delivery. It's that kind of energy that you've got. And this is how you honour things. It's like this precision that is getting rid of all the BS, actually, so that like something that is new can have a chance to flower. And it is saying because of that you're going to be successful. Like you are protecting the success through you can just cut through with your mind and your words and your capacity to bring people along, maybe make them laugh, maybe make them entertain, anything that would get in the way of that. You're trying to break away from, you're protecting something new rather than having something revert to something that it was before. Like all the old things that are no longer working anymore. You could really point that out. You can really point that out, and you can point out where there's almost revisionist history going on. So, and again, this very politically is happening at the moment, it's sort of like you'd be able to point that out. Now, I'm not saying you have to be doing it in politics, it's just giving you an example. But yeah, you have a capacity to use humour, play, quickness of wit to deal with very serious subjects so that something new can be protected. And this is part of your destiny. You're here in this world at this time for a reason. So let's see what you protect. So we've got a sense here about you're honouring the new, you're honouring something that is not going to allow the world to be divided and as I say, revisionist history. But what are you protecting? What's the core protection here? We have the Four of Cups reversed, the Queen of Cups reversed, the Five of Wands, the Three of Pentacles, I think. Yeah, Three of Pentacles reversed, and the Five of Swords. Okay. You're protecting other people, I think. And I think for most of you, people that you're very close to. I think this looks to me like you see some injustice that's been done to those that you care about, where they can't express who they are, where they're shut down, censored, whatever it might be, particularly emotionally. And you're protecting them in a time. You can see the pettiness of the battle, so you're protecting them because it's like the pettiness of a battle is stopping the expression of anything that's authentic emotionally in the situation. So you're protecting the capacity to do that. Because, yeah, you're protecting against a battle that is just about division. This does feel very much like the social political world we're in, I've got to say. I mean, as I say, extrapolate it to your personal perspective if it's more around, something in your family or relationships or whatever. But this just looks like you're trying to protect what has been suppressed the emotional authenticity in a situation where there's been a deliberate strategic battle thing to divide people and to make everything really petty. You've got much bigger fish to fry than like all the petty arguments that are going on at the moment. So you're trying to protect against that. It's more like you're protecting against that, the suppression of the authentic and true, the division of the collaboration, and like how petty it is. How petty it is. And I think that part of your ability to do it is to also know what battles to involve in and what battles to just walk away from. Because again, your goal is like the new energy coming through it. So it's like you're not going to get drawn into just a petty battle just to have the battle. And in any case, like woe betide somebody who's trying to debate with you. but nevertheless, you're not going to get caught up with that. You know what you're protecting, and you know what the enemy is. The enemy is division. So that's what you're doing. So let's see what honors and protects you. The Page of Wands reversed, the hanged one, the Seven of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. Okay, so this could be a few things. So some of this could be your own internal stuff. I'll talk about that first, and then I'll talk about external stuff that could be honouring and protecting you. Internally, because I think a lot of this comes from you internally. I think that's why we've got the two, the figure in there, even if that isn't, like, even if they're a bit hidden, the two there rather than the horse driving it. Like the two sides of you, your understanding, your depth, and your gravitas. What is protecting you is a great sense of timing, and you don't get sort of put off if the energy that you're pushing through gets stopped or delayed. You know that you're more than to the task. You're self-actualized. You know that you can do this. So you're protected by your own sense of vision and your creativity. Like you are very, very creative. Like as I say, I just feel like this is like done in culture in some way. Culture, entertainment, creativity, art, that kind of thing in some way. And that protects you because you're brilliant at it in whatever way you do it. And you don't get dissuaded by delays. You just work the way through it. You don't look at something and go, oh, that's a block. Okay. You look at it, oh, that's the next challenge for me to win. And I'm going to win because I know how to present this. But I also feel like you may have a great supporter. A similarly sort of like very action-oriented person, someone who's very creative. I feel like for many of you there could be that, may be female, given it's the Queen of Wands, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anybody. It could be just somebody, maybe just someone that you would identify as being more feminine than masculine, or they may identify themselves that way. But I do think that for some of you, there's somebody, they may even appear to be a competitor, but they're actually an ally, if that's the case. And it's like, it looks to me like if that's the case, what's going to honour and protect you is that it may even surprise you that the point when you get blocked for some reason in what you're trying to do, someone who might have been seen to be a competitor becomes an ally and lifts you to the next level. I just get such a feeling about this, about creative stuff. It's just like it feels and looks like, you sort of, say for argument's sake, you were running a podcast. And you get to a point and then you're blocked. You're blocked by censorship, or you're blocked by, all the division that's going on, or whatever it might be. It might be that there's like a fellow podcaster who's a bit more successful at this point actually goes, I want to interview you. I want to, like, there's something like that going on if it's an external. So it's either your own creativity that drives you and protects you and honours you as well as what you're honouring, or you're going to have a really powerful ally. Okay, so let's get you some other allies. Let's get you some guidance from the celestial realms, from your own higher self, and from your ancestors. So firstly, from the celestial realms. Solve Polluti, megahertz 741. This is perfect. This is perfect for you because this is all about higher frequencies, higher beings, connecting to your higher self, all of that, to clear out that which is toxic. To bring in, because you're doing that. Like, the toxicity is a division, and it's a manufactured division. There's something that you're doing, I think it's very creative, that will actually help clear that out. You're like a kind of spiritual, environmental, political, social vacuum cleaner almost. Like, you're clearing it all out. But you're doing it, with great fun, with great wit, with great depth. And this energy is helping. It's like it's recognized on the spiritual level that you're working on something to clear out something that's really toxic, and you're protecting the new from that toxicity. So that energy is with you. So I love that. I love that for you with what you're doing. Let's see what your higher self has to say. Explore. A soul adventure calls you. Explore all the uncharted waters of your inner and outer world. So see it as an exploration. That's interesting with the Fool. Your own energy, your own creative energy, and the knowing that you can have fun and you can also be in the underworld and have fun. Allow it as an exploration, because like you are being protected, what you're doing just by the act of doing this and exploring alternatives, exploring synergy, exploring whatever it is that you're doing to protect and honor the new things coming in. That's got this huge transformative energy too. Think about like Hades, the underworld is about transformation. Then we have all these beautiful butterflies. This is a freeing energy. It's like Bast has a chat with Hades and says, "You're not going to get stuck down here all the time, mate. You know, this is going to be fine. We're going to have a bit of fun. We're going to get out into the world." So your higher self wants you to explore and to see what this is for you. What do your ancestors want to say to you, pile 3? Personality, yeah, you got personality in spades. So I'm saying, like, they're saying your personality does it. Like your personality is really well balanced, and your personality, like, can make people laugh, can make people enjoy things. Like, really explore your personality, explore what you can create, explore what you can do. You're incredibly charismatic, but you also have the gravitas. But I think the thing that most people see is the charisma. You're so quick, you're so funny, all of those things. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, you can break through all of this. And really say, like, I'm kind of getting like Jane Austen with the way she broke through social conventions with something as brilliant as Pride and Prejudice. Oscar Wilde, as I say, there's many sort of like comedic talents and so forth in our current world as well. And it doesn't have to be comedy, but I do think there's a humour. There's a real humour in what you do, and that's part of the way that you honour and protect things. You kind of burst the bubble of the pretension and the toxicity. Do it really precisely, really beautifully. Okay, so if that's going on, you also will have fortune operating when you're looking at what you're honouring and protecting. So I'm just going to use a couple of fortune-oriented decks just to sort of see right now what the fortune energy is, because this could be a lifelong thing that you're doing, or it could be something that's right now. But right now, the energy around you. The Satire, revelry and indulgence. Yeah, I think you're meant to have a bit of fun with this. Like, you really can. You're doing something very serious, but you are meant to have a bit of fun with it because you're so clever. You're so clever. And we want people like you. I particularly am being really selfish here, but like, I love the people, particularly if you are resonating to this kind of entertainer energy. I love the people who can do that. And I don't have to always agree with everything they say. It's not the point. The point is about that they say whatever side it is with such a brilliance that it kind of like brings you closer to where we're together. And I think that's very important. And the Oracle, seek wisdom and guidance from the elders. Isn't that funny that it was naturally falling where we had the ancestors? You probably have a very strong oracular ability, maybe mediumship, if you get that right next to the ancestors. They're going to really remind you of who you are and your personality. So I think, seek some guidance there. Then we're going to use the Shadow of the Middle Ages deck, which is like a very large expanded Lenormand. So that's also some other fortune energy. So let's see what we get there. Broom. Yeah, it's time to sweep out the stuff that isn't good. And the broom can be a little bit harsh. Like, this isn't saying it's satire, probably, as much as anything if it's humour. But it's to the service of the higher service here, of sweeping out that which is not helpful anymore. Clearing it out. You're cleaning out something. That's how you honour and protect, is you just burst the bubble of, as I say, like propaganda and pretension. And present. This is all in the present day. You're in the present day. I think this is also the Spirit saying, yes, it's good to sort of like show some historical analogies, but the best analogies are people who are in the present. So people that you look up to that do this, you're in that lineage, you're part of that. And it's very present. You're here for a reason. You're here in this time for a reason. Whatever it is that you're trying to protect and honour, you're the right person to be doing it in this time. Wow. Okay, so let's just get you some stars to guide you as well, pile 3. So firstly, we have the new moon, the seeding, plant what you desire. Yeah, things are starting to speed up a bit. Work out what it is that you want. Because remember, destiny, and the chariot, things come fast. I mean, you're very quick, so it's not going to be a problem for you, but things come fast. So work out what you want now, so you're very clear on what the destination is for the Fool energy there that you're protecting, or that you're honouring. The full moon, the harvest, reap what you've sown. So there's almost, this is maybe saying there's a cycle. If you have a look at where you've come to now and what you've been able to achieve and how you've used these abilities, it's meant to help you plant the seeds for the next step. Also, moon energy is very important to you. Pay attention to the cycles of the moon. And the North Node, yeah, you're going to your destiny. This is destiny. This is destiny. You're here in this time for a reason. Like I sometimes think that we think about how many lives we must have over the span of time. There must be lives where we're just kind of having a quiet life and it's not really big. That's what I'm aiming for in this life, to be honest. To be perfectly honest, I like a quiet life. Happy, I like to do things like this to help others and support others, but like a quiet life would be fine. I do feel, as I said in the introduction, I might have been a samurai or something like that. So I'm perfectly open to the fact that sometimes I have a bigger purpose, but I don't necessarily feel I do in this life, and I'm fine with that. You do. Like, okay, you do. This is a big life for you. This is part of your real soul evolution. This is present. This is important. Okay, so given that, let's just finish up with a blessing. I wanted a blessing for those that honour and protect, a blessing for you and yours as a result of this reading, or as a result of what you're doing that this reading describes. A blessing for peace of mind. Yeah. Because you would be very much in your head, I've got to say, with this sort of energy. And you know, that would be like an irritant. If you didn't do something with that, it would be like an irritant. So you know, it's just saying, like, I want a quiet life. I feel like, you know, for someone like you, like if you achieve this in this life, because this is something that you're meant to do, not only are you likely to have peace of mind in the end with what you do, but maybe you will get the reward of a quiet life where you can just enjoy the fruits of all of that in a world that is better because of what you've done in this life. That's the energy I get. And I'm getting tears in my eyes. Every single one of these readings, I got tears in my eyes at one point, and I think that's where the really core message is. So it's a really core message for you, because I cry about honour. When I watched the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, because there's so many honourable things that happen in that, I just cried all the way through them. So it's a real sign. So yes, you're meant to get a reward for this. And it's like that calm, that peace, that knowing of a job well done. So I hope that you enjoyed the reading. We do need people like you in the world, so more power to you. If you did enjoy the reading, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.